Hi folks and welcome. Today we are going to the Colosseum. Now, something to keep in mind, it is a Saturday in June and it's about 90 degrees. So not only is it hot, but this place is very crowded and we are going to the most popular tourist attraction here. We are going to try to hit the Colosseum through an alternative route. As you can see, we're right behind the Pantheon here, a 2,000-year-old building. This is a very touristy section. We're going to go through this neighborhood here into the Jewish quarter, around the Circus Maximus through Palatine Hill, and catch it from an alternative direction. It should be pretty clean and clear of tourists. So I want you folks to join me on this little experiment, and we'll see how it goes. We just crossed over the Corso Victor Emmanuel. That was kind of the end of the Pantheon neighborhood, and now we're in a new neighborhood here. If you look over my shoulder, this is an area that we call the Via Sacra. It's actually 3 ancient Roman temples that are under excavation here. It's kind of an often overlooked little site, but it's definitely worth checking out. All right, we're about 7-8 minutes into our walk, and look at this. It's almost like we have Rome all to ourselves in the middle of summertime. This is the Circus Maximus, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot left of it here. You can get the semblance of a large racetrack. If you look in the back there, you'll see some old ruins at the top. That's the Palatine Hill, the actual place where Rome was founded, supposedly where Romulus and Remus were raised. This was kind of the place to live in Rome. All emperors had their palaces here for the most part, and even during the age of the Republic, Brutus would have a house here, Caesar would have a house here, Cassius would have a house here. It was just kind of like the Manhattan Island or the Beverly Hills. But that's what surprised me the most, is how much of these ruins are around. And it's always empty. Even during the height of summer, you can pretty much have the whole place to yourself, just like I do here. We finally made it to the Colosseum. It's the prototype of every single modern stadium that's built today. Basically, what the Romans did was they put 2 theaters together. Also, they had to figure out a way to get 50,000 people in and out very quickly, and they did it very, very well. You didn't have to pay admission to get into the Colosseum. It was essentially one of the gifts that the emperors would give to the people. We maybe have heard of the term before, bred in circuses. Well, essentially the idea was keep the people fed, keep the people entertained, and ultimately you have a happy population that's not going to rebel against you. The Colosseum housed gladiatorial games for about a good 400 years. This was seen as kind of the symbolic heart of Rome. Eventually Rome falls and the Colosseum still continues on. It has many different histories after. It becomes a stronghold for a local gang leader who uses it as a way to terrorize the residents. A few more generations go by and the Romans use it as a collective place to keep their livestock. For a small fee, you could store it in the Colosseum. Then around the 1300s, when Rome was really starting to kind of come back under the popes, people started using fragments of the Colosseum to build the new churches, to build houses. And the reason it looks the way it does today is because a lot of people used it as a quarry. Why bother carving large pieces of stone when you can just strip the marble off of the Colosseum? But around the year 1700, the Pope started to notice, as pilgrims would come into Rome to visit the Christian sites, that they were fascinated by the Colosseum. It became a destination spot. The popes consecrated it into a Christian pilgrimage site because some Christians had been killed there, and from that day on, it's been preserved and has been an attraction. It's been a pleasure being with you, and we made it without too many tourists.